Huh?
Hello?
Huh? Huh?
Hello, everybody, and
Hi.
welcome to episode 280 of the Good Kraken podcast. I'm one of your hosts tonight, Arnell Pearson, alongside, that's right, baby, it's our baby boy. It is twitch.tv's DJ DJ, my dude, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday night? And how has Tekken been treating you, my good sir?
Dude, I've been doing okay, man. Fucking Tekken's been great, dude. Coop finally got the game, so I'm about to run some with Coop later on tonight. Our baby boy Coop. He's me and him were DMing each other this morning,
Hell
and we're talking
yeah.
about the game. And it's like everything we've ever wanted, bro. It is the best Tekken to date, dude. And
Oh, big
complain
words,
about it.
man. I'm sure we're gonna be hearing more about that come your little conversation later on, my
Yeah,
good sir.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm glad it's been treating you well though. I know that you've been waiting for it for a hot fucking minute. You've been talking about it for a while. So
Dude, I
it's
thought it was
good.
gonna come out last year, but it would be the year of the big three fighters.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
We were
I'm glad
hoping
we started the year off with something huge.
kind of end things off the right way. Well, how's school and shit going this week, my good sir?
Yeah, school's been all right, man. Just fucking chilling, completing some assignments, starting to ramp up though, some schoolwork. I got some homework tonight. I gotta finish up, but it hasn't been too bad. It hasn't been too bad.
Okay. Yeah, I see you. I see you, good sir. That is very good to know, DJ. It is also very good to know that we have the snack king himself, our hellfire and brimstone. It is Garrick Bartholomew. Ethan Garrick.
Hellfire and brimstone.
You
How-
definitely let that hang just long enough that I thought you were just gonna leave it at the snack, and I was gonna be okay with it. But
I mean,
like,
one,
you're right. I am a snack.
one would argue that the hellfire and brimstone is just inherently making you the snack. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. I mean, it worked for Dante and Devils May
The
Cry. You know what I'm saying?
spiciest
Like,
cast member
Next
on
me
GTA.
down on your next Baldur's Gate 3 run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there
yeah,
you
you
go.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
it. That's right. He is the
The
NPC.
spiciest GK member.
Oh,
Here.
the chili
Bartholomew.
pepper. You know what I'm saying? The pepper
Yeah.
and the chili. Garrick, how are
yeah.
you this wonderful Tuesday night, my good sir?
Honestly, I'm so much fucking better now that I've finally gotten my hands on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I did they should was there a way to do that title better, folks? Like, it's a little wordy.
Yeah.
You could just call it
I mean,
Suicide
what's wrong
Squad.
with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
Or just like, I guess you could kind of call it Suicide Squad, or you could just call it Kill the Justice League, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But like,
Yeah.
You mean
right,
SSKLA or
dude, I've seen
KLT,
people like abbreviate it, and it's just like I'm just like, oh geez, Louise. Yeah, I'm playing SSKTJL.
Yeah.
KTLJ. KTJL. Yeah, KTJL.
JL.
I had it right.
Kill the League Justice.
Yeah, Gary got it right.
Well, I am
League
glad.
Justice.
But I'm doing good. It just it's we're early into the week, and I've been eagerly awaiting like the February release schedule. There's so many good games.
Oh God,
coming
I
out this
know.
month.
I'm not. God, I'm not prepared, man. I mean, even just like kind of like leading.
I'm
into
having
February,
to
like,
I'm having to skip releases. Like, I have 3 that I'm absolutely for sure skipping on because I just don't have time
yeah,
to get them.
yeah. Unfortunately, man. I mean, it's like I'm prioritizing Helldivers for sure. Like,
That's yeah. Helldivers is like, that's a must buy for me.
Yeah.
And then
Must cop.
Pacific Drive is a must buy for me this month.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Good call, my good sir. Well, you know what else is goodbye though, Garrick?
What?
Oral sex in front of a 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Okay.
But also the Good Kraken podcast, because tonight we're talking Choose Your Fighter, the No Parole Patrol, the lowdown on industry layoffs, and much, much more, because this is the Good Kraken podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 12 p.m. If you're riding this wave, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive content, and soon have early access to episodes before they go live on podcasts and video services across the digital sea.
Yar.
Thank you, gentlemen. But if you've emptied your pockets for the latest and greatest in entertainment, that is totally fine. You can watch us record this show live right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, DJ.
Prime Gaming.
And we would love for you to give that to us to help keep us pushing content out for all of you that are listening or watching at home. But you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there. Garrick Bartholomew, we have
What?
some captain's orders, my friend. Guys,
Do we?
we're going to need y'all to pay very, very close attention to our schedule next week.
Very
because
close.
Very
next
close.
week, starting on good old February 5th, Monday, February 5th. That's right. We're coming to you guys with the very first day of Good Kraken Fest. That's right. We're celebrating our 3rd year anniversary of doing this absolute just fucking dumpster fire bullshit that we've been doing for a few years now, and we're coming in to celebrate it with you guys with our slate of new content, new schedule, new faces, new fucking everything, man, new stuff, just the new goodies, you know what I'm saying? And we're kicking that off on Monday with the Shipwreck Show as our first episode of the week. We cannot say too much more than that right now in regards to that schedule, so hang tight on Saturday. We'll run it down with you guys, and then just keep your eyes close to our Discord channel where Garrick posts our schedule each week. He will let you guys know what to expect next week as we get a little bit closer to it. But with that said, you do not want to miss that shit. I promise you it's going to be a fucking good time. Better than we honestly probably deserve, to be honest with you.
Probably.
No, man, we deserve it, man. We deserve
We're
it.
gonna do our best to make it. I think it's gonna be a cool.
It's gonna be a fun time.
I think it's gonna be a genuinely fun week.
It's
Hopefully-
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Hopefully
man.
you guys are excited. You guys listening, we love you.
Yes, we love you
Love
guys. Thank you guys for being here. We love having you guys here. We love having the availability to celebrate with all of you. The shenanigans and fuckery that we've been up to the past few years and been up to with you guys, and we thank you all each and every goddamn day. With that said, we have a segment to be going into here, gentlemen. And DJ, I ask you, good sir,
Yeah.
what are we getting into next?
Well, it's gonna be some eventful takes tonight.
Mm.
So all hands on deck. Everybody, brace yourselves.
Hands on fucking deck, baby. That's right. We are getting into it tonight because each of these two young fellows here have got a chance to play some video games of recent. Starting with DJ here, as mentioned, DJ has been just cramming his waking hours into the wonderful, brand new Tekken motherfucking 8. DJ,
Yes,
I'm going to give
sir.
you a chance to go for it, my doggy dog. How has it been? Tell us all about Tekken 8, my good sir.
Guys, you guys hear my reviews all the time.
Mhm.
And when I love a game, I am not shy about it. And I'll let you guys know that this game is amazing. As a long-time Tekken fan, ever since Tekken 3, I've owned every single Tekken game. And it's been a wild ride from 3 to now with Tekken 8. This is not only the best Tekken game to date, but I argue it is the best fighting game to date.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It is on
We've had
par.
some
It's on
fighters.
par and maybe even better in some aspects than Street Fighter 6 so far.
Wow.
I truly believe that.
That's a big
Not that
cock,
I have
man.
any
Goddamn.
bias. I do have a little bit of bias towards Tekken because I enjoy 3D fighters more than 2D fighters.
For sure.
But even with Street Fighter 6's success, I can recognize that and I can respect it. And
Hmm.
it was the best fighting game out until Tekken 8 came out for me. There's so much to do and there's so much content in this game. It made me rethink about my views on Mortal Kombat 1 when I gave the review on it on our hands-on on Mortal
Oh,
Kombat
okay.
1
Okay.
back then. I don't know what score I gave it. I think I gave it either like a 9 or a 10. I think
Hmm.
to me now it drops to a 7 because this,
Comparatively speaking, right?
comparative speaking to this fighting game, there's so much more content and none of it is locked behind a paywall. None of it.
Mm, mm,
Absolutely none.
mm.
We have 32 characters, all customizable, all with their own character episodes, which are like story little matches and character endings. Uh, you get their concept art, you get their little movie or whatever. Uh, you get 3 single player modes, 4 even. And you get a multitude of other of course you get the online and just the practice mode and how extensive that is. This whole thing is a complete package for a fighting game. I mean, just the solo content alone. You have the main story mode, which is called the Dark Awakens, um, or something like that. And it continues on from the story of Tekken 7, narratively speaking, and basically goes fucking wild. Won't probably won't make sense for someone who's coming back into the series and doesn't really know about the story that's been going on for the past 7 games.
Mm.
But they do give you a gallery mode where you can recap yourself on the past few games, and it's available to you. So you can use that before you get into the story. And this story is wild, dude. I saw another reviewer say, I think it was like GameSpot or IGN said it is capital A anime because it is anime as fuck. It's just like a shonen, it follows those tropes,
It
but
literally is a
there's
shonen.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
right,
of it,
right.
and it's a love letter to Tekken fans because the story and how it plays out and the characters and their involvement within the story, it made me tear up. It made me cry actually. And I think I was talking to Coop about this morning. Coop, our good friend who is also into Tekken, he said he cried like full on balled out because of the story, and it is it is really good. It is super good, and I just can't like I've seen people on Twitter like finishing the story. They're like, "Oh my god, this is the best Tekken story to date." Last
Okay.
Tekken 7 story was like it was a weird telling of it. It was like through the eyes of a journalist into the world of Tekken, which some people like, some people didn't like. But I think this one is universally just really good. Just the presentation of it is super good, super sound. Like there's the nice music. There's like a little tournament arc within it. There's different modes inside the story mode. Actually, without spoiling too much, there's different ways to play the game. Uh, uh, or now, if you remember Tekken Force mode in Tekken 3, there is a
Yes.
Tekken Force mode homage in the campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, also, Tekken 8 introduces special style, which is basically the modern controls from Street Fighter 6. But instead of just like minimizing the control scheme, it actually super minimizes it into like 1 to 2 button presses. So you can, and it's a toggle. It's L1 or left bumper
Yeah.
on controller, and basically there's a menu that pops up, and you can do it for every character, and if you're doing it all, you can also do it online and people can see it as the menu pop up using special style, and you can just basically do kind of easy combos with characters that you might not really like to play, so you don't have to learn each character
Mm.
that you don't really want to play. You can just turn on special style and have a blast with the campaign. I did actually most of the campaign on special style, and it was fun. It was still a fun experience. I get a taste of what these characters can do without having to learn a whole move list. Um, the story concludes pretty well, and then the second story single player mode is called Arcade Quest. You make a little Xbox 360 arcade avatar, and basically it's kind of like Pokemon, where like you're going into different arcades around this little world, and you're being taught the game. It's like a long tutorial, but they give you a lot of reassurance and encouragement throughout, where and it basically teaches you the game and teaches you all the complexities of the game, like punish moves and the new heat system, and how to break out of throws and stuff like that. And the whole like, and it's like a flat story about like, oh, you should focus on having fun instead of trying to being the best. And there's little tournaments you can do against other like characters inside the story mode. So it's very beginner friendly, and it teaches you a lot about the systems of the game, and makes it fun. And then there's the third single player route. There's character episodes. Each character has a character episode where you pick a character and you play through 5 matches, and then once you complete it, you get that character's episode ending, and it's pretty funny. Some of them are pretty humorous. Um, like Kazuya's, he fucking at the end he shows a massive shoe collection because a callback to the Tekken 1 in the manual, in the user manual. It showcases the characters and their hobbies, and Kazuya's hobby was collecting sneakers. So it's like more fan service for the fans. And then
Very
if you want to
sweet.
play regular like arcade battle, you can do that too. You can play like through 8 matches, just like in like an arcade would, and you'll fight against a big bad guy at the end, and then that's it. It's this, and that's just the single player modes for a fighting game.
Yeah,
Um,
right, right.
like
There's a
we
lot of
haven't talked about
content.
online. We haven't talked about Tekken Ball, which is back from Tekken 3.
Mm-hmm.
Tekken Ball is a full-fledged mode, uh, and it's fun. It's still fun, and you can also play Tekken Ball online, so you can also beat your friends up with a volleyball. Um, there's also the Tekken Fight Lounge, which acts like the battle hub in Street Fighter 6, where you can like walk around with your friends. And what's cool is there you go into this area with arcade machines, and there's a section where you can do group battles. So there's like an arcade machine lined up like back to back here. I can walk and access this side of the arcade machine, and a buddy can go on the other side, and we match right then and there,
Yeah,
which is super cool. And we
yeah.
did that
It's
on the splash damage.
yeah.
With
It
you and
was
I
it
are
was
no,
so
we just
rad,
fucking
dude. It
sat
was so rad.
next to each other. It's really really cool. Also, character customization. There's a lot of customization options. You can tell some of the Soul Calibur people who worked on Soul Calibur had a hand in the customization for this game, because it's an extensive list. I've seen so many things on Twitter and TikTok of these crazy character customization, making them into characters from other IPs, which and they look pretty convincing. Um, the online works really well. It can be kind of spotty with some people who are on Wi-Fi, but that's kind of just the thing with fighting games. But the rollback netcode seems to be really well. When it works, it fucking works. It's responsive as fuck. Me and Ernell were playing on like 130 ms, and it felt buttery smooth
Mm-hmm.
like the whole time. No drops, no nothing. Um, the game does have some crashing issues. I've run into a few, um, but I think it's just like between systems, and it might just be me. But be aware that there is some crash systems. Maybe make sure to update your drivers and shit like that. But
Yes.
this game has so much customization as well. There's also the jukebox mode, which they brought back from Tekken 7, where uh, you have access to the entire library of all the Tekken games and all their original soundtracks, and you can customize it to where you can create up to 3 playlists and choose what songs play on what stages, and also whenever someone's about to win, like let's say if you're 2 rounds up in the set, right? Some maps, some stages have uh, a climax section where you can have a different song for the climax version. So like if you want to customize that too, or you can just put the whole thing on shuffle. Um, of all the fucking soundtracks, it is so much content here. And I get the game is $70, but for $70 still, you are getting so much game. You're getting so much fucking game for a fighting game. And I know fighting games don't really get game of the year, but this is my game of the year so far. This is
Oh,
my game of the fucking year.
hey, okay. All right, doggy dog. I see you.
Already.
Well, Mr. Game
Yeah.
of the Year, I'm sure that we have some questions for you. If I may kind of field this off
right
here. So you mentioned that this game has so far made you really kind of like reconsider your thoughts on Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter from last year. Obviously, that means that for you, this game sort of gives you exactly what you're looking for out of a fighting game. But does it give you more than you were looking for out of Tekken 8? I mean, obviously you had some expectations, but do you feel that it like really, really fully exceeded those, or did it just meet everything that you needed it to meet?
I think it met everything that I wanted to meet and did more.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
like for example, this is the first kind of Tekken that I actually dove into learning like the internal language of the game, like or if in terms of fighting games in general, like plus frames and tech grabs and shit like that. You
Hmm.
know, I've never learned that for Tekken. I've just been strictly button mashing, but this game makes it so approachable to make me understand, oh, that's how I'm supposed to play. That's how I'm supposed to move. And there's even stuff within the practice tool that will help you. So there's frame data you can have displayed. You can set up the practice however you want. You can focus on just punishment training, which is a toggle. You can like toggle in the menu and you can just focus on punishing. There's also uh, like learning how to get up, and like there's also combo challenges. Each character has 11 or 12 combo challenges that you can do, and you can practice over and over again.
Okay.
And you get like, you can go down the list, like each combo challenge gets harder and harder, of course, but you start learning it that way and learning that character's kind of move set. Uh, and there's a replay system. Every match you play online, I believe, if it's against a human, yes, every match you play online, it gets sent into your replays, and you can go into the replay list and watch your replay, and it will actually pause and give you a tooltip on what you should have done
Oh, that's
in
really
this
cool.
situation.
That's really,
So
really
let's
cool.
say if you hit a launcher and you launched a character in the air, but you didn't do a combo, it'll actually pause and show, oh, this is one of the optimum combos you could have done in this situation while you have that character in the air. And what's even crazier is you can jump in to the replay and play out the replay.
Like what
You can
should
take
have
control.
been, and
Yeah, you can take control of that character within the replay and do the combo that they listed. So you can practice that, and like you can use that as a tool for you to practice um to optimize your game. And I think that's super sick. It's never been done before. You can never like this is the only fighting game that's been so innovative with that. Like I don't think you guys understand, like you can jump into your replays. You can actually
right,
play it
right,
out. As long as the other character is played by a human, it will actually just like copy their moves, and you can just uh do the combo over, or like do a different combo
right,
instead.
right.
Um, which is
Hmm.
crazy. And then also within the replay, I think you can watch it, you can favorite it. Uh and it'll like I said, it'll show you like the optimal combos. Uh or you can take control of, I think, the other character, so you can take control of them and then
Oh,
and see what they could have done better as well, if they could have
oh,
punished
okay.
you on this or punish you on this move, and stuff like that. It's really sick. There's also ghost super ghost battle that I forgot to mention, also a single player mode. So you unlock this after completing chapter 3 of Arcade Quest, I think.
Okay.
So basically, every character that you play and every character that's being played, uh, there's a ghost of it. And so a ghost is kind of like a computer ran version of your character that you've played. So basically it saves all your moves and mannerisms so that you can challenge uh like the CPU basically of yourself.
Mm.
So super ghost battles, you can battle your own ghosts in the mode, so it can learn your moves and mannerisms, so you can practice against yourself and see what tendencies you have, and try to fix them as well. And it's learning in real time as you're fighting it. Um, it'll even pop up a little pop up that says AI like learning, so it's like learning from your moves and your tendencies. You can also battle CPU ghosts, other people's ghosts. So let's say if you got your ass beat, you can download that player's ghost, uh, and you can just practice against that ghost without having that person be online for you to rematch. I
Okay.
can
Okay.
and any of your friends, if you have any friends, you can download their ghosts. So when they're offline, you can just start practicing against their ghosts and learning their moves and mannerisms without having to be online and present for it. Which is also really sick. Um, I think this game is just incredible. Any other questions for my
I
rating?
I think you covered all the bases for me so far, man. Garrick, what about you?
Yeah, my only real question was like, do they have any intention of like doing like a continued development on this, or they'll like will they expand the roster, or is this like a game released as a product?
They're gonna work on the game for the time. Like they're gonna continue updating the game. I think I follow Harada on Twitter, and he's like, yeah, we haven't stopped working. Like we have not stopped working. We're working on like patches and fixes for the servers, and nerfing or buffing characters. There's also 4 characters coming out this year, so they do
Okay,
like a little seasonal thing. So the first character they revealed, I
like a
think
character
last week,
pass.
yeah, like a season pass. So um there'll be a new character coming, I think in this month, this coming month. And then the next one in the spring, and then the fall, and then winter. Um
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Alright.
Fuck yeah, dude. What do you
they haven't said anything about the Harada said something about on Twitter. They haven't looked at guest characters yet. So I'm assuming these first 4. Well, they revealed the first one. He's a returning character, Eddie Gordo. He's a capoeira fighter. So they released the first one, but they haven't revealed the other 3 yet. So I'm assuming the other 3 might be returning characters or new characters. So we don't know yet. But haven't said anything about guest characters yet, which was the draw of Tekken 7. They had
Yeah.
Noctis, Geese Howard from King Fighters, and um Negan from the Walking Dead series.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
Um,
that.
yeah,
Interesting.
so all stuff like that.
Respect it, man. Respect it, dude. Well, DJ, it is cool to see this game unfold. I'm glad that you're as hyped as you are about it. I've been wanting to spend some time, as I was telling you before stream. I've been itching to fucking play, but unfortunately I've been like so busy getting ready for next week that like I haven't got a
Hmm.
chance to. But I'm excited, dude. Like when we played for Splash Damage last week, it was genuinely such a fun time playing a fighting
Yeah.
game. And that is super nostalgic for me coming out of having, I think last time I played was Tekken 4 in any real
Hmm.
capacity. And it's fun, dude. It's a fun fucking game. I definitely agree that like
Dude,
this.
and it's fast paced. It's faster than Tekken 7 with the heat system and how,
Mhm.
like, because that's how they model the game about being aggressive. And it feels good, dude. It feels the best it's ever felt. Even just playing with friends, like I haven't giggled like a little boy in so long playing this game, just having a fucking blast.
Dude, it was a
Um,
fucking blast, man. But
yeah,
speaking of playing with friends, Garrick has been playing a game that is, you would argue, intended for playing with friends, and he has been getting his nitty gritty in on the brand new, as mentioned earlier, Suicide Squad, uh, JTLK.
Kill the Justice League.
Kill the
Kill the
Justice League. Garrick, tell us about your time with that so far.
Before I even talk about my experience playing the game,
Uh-huh.
I simply cannot ignore the press that is circulated in the last 24 hours about this game.
Yeah.
I have been playing video games for a lot of years.
Many
A lot of
years, I
years.
would say. Yeah.
And I've enjoyed video games and comic book characters for a long time, and they've been a really big part of like my upbringing and like all of that stuff. And I have never been more fucking disappointed in the last 24 hours of like comic book fans and superhero fans and gamers in general. You guys are so fucking hateful for no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's honestly like this game had some of the most bizarre fucky press I've ever seen circulate around a game launch for no reason at all, other than, and this is going to be a hot take because I know a lot of people have strong feelings negatively about this game.
Give us the hot takes, dog. Give it to us.
You guys are all a bunch of fucking crybabies. Like, literally, I have played 10 hours of this game since it launched at 10 p.m. yesterday. Right? I have been playing basically nonstop. And this literally feels like a Rocksteady game. It has all of the markings. Like, the Riddler challenges in this are fucking better than the ones in Arkham Knight, dude. They're actual riddles.
Okay. All right.
I'm not just running around doing some bullshit AR challenge. Like, they have the bullshit AR challenges too, but like there's legit like sections on the map where like the Riddler will provide you with a riddle, and then you have to find like that place in the world that matches what that riddle is. And like there's no other hints other than the riddle he provided to you. That's it. Right? Like it's so like Rocksteady once again showed to me that they do understand these characters, and like you guys are so fucking upset that it's not a Batman video game, just like everybody was so fucking upset that Gotham Knights was not a Batman video game. And then like I'm sorry, the disrespectful handling of like your favorite characters, who fucking cares? Like these are fictional characters, people.
Oh,
these
dude,
are
really
fictional characters. No, I really am. I'm sorry. Everybody and their fucking mother that has come out and has weaponized Kevin Conroy's passing about how, like, I can't believe that this was the product that, like, Kevin Conroy, he signed the contract to play this version of Batman knowing Kill the Justice League was in the fucking title.
Yep.
Like, you guys are unfucking believable with this shit. Unfucking believable. And honestly, the unceremonious handling of his character, the whole point of the Suicide Squad is the fact that it's irreverent as fuck. These characters don't give a shit about killing heroes. They don't give a shit about killing civilians. They don't give a shit about saving the fucking day. They're in here to save their own fucking skins because they have a bomb in their head. That's the plot of the fucking Suicide Squad. That's Task Force-esque in a nutshell. And anybody coming at me saying that, like, oh, they handled the characters funny, or like disrespected Batman, or the Flash, or Green Lantern, that's the whole point. The whole point is to take these lesser-known B-list, C-list characters, put them in a position they have absolutely no fucking right being in, and shitting all over your favorite heroes. That's what the Suicide Squad is. And if you don't understand that, like, go back to the comic books and then like come back to me and we'll have a chat. Also, anybody who's saying that like that Rocksteady has basically fallen from grace because they've accepted LGBTQI into their workforce, fuck off. Kevin Conroy was gay.
Fuck off, guys. Fuck off.
Like
Yes,
all
sir.
of the discourse around this shit is legit fucking nonsense. Like you're all a bunch of fucking bitch babies. I'm so fucking
Ooh, he
sorry,
said
and
bitch
I'm not
babies.
sorry.
Let's go,
Like
dude. Let's go.
I've never been more disappointed in like comic book fans and like gamer fans than I have been with like the reception of this game, because you guys literally let one article from one person spiral into such a negative, controversial piece of shit show
Mm.
that you guys aren't even willing to like try the product on your own and make your own opinion to yourself.
Mm.
With that being said, I'm having a great fucking time playing
Let's
Suicide
go,
Squad.
dude. Let's go,
Kill the
dude.
Justice
I'm
League.
so stoked, dude. Let's go.
Now,
Okay. All right. Let's talk
it's
about
not
it.
perfect. It's not perfect. This is not going to. This isn't a 10 out of 10 game. It's got some qualms. There are some things I have issues with it, just like I had issues with Gotham Knights. Now, this is a games as a service style game. It's going to be having seasons and a post content like schedule, like a post launch content schedule. But I have been playing this largely solo. I have been doing like an open party and played with some randoms and stuff. But I've been playing this mostly solo. And guess what? It feels like a fucking single player Arkham game with 3 AIs that just happen to be tagging along with you for the
All right.
camaraderie.
That's what we like.
That's what it does. The always online factor has only interrupted my gameplay experience twice, and I have been and it has only happened after long plays.
Okay. Okay.
So I've only had like session to grade issues after long plays. But as far as like this game being like an always online, it has not hampered my experience or marred anything in any way. They've already announced that they're going to be doing an offline mode, folks. Like, just if that's your one bitch about this game, just wait for them to release the online mode and you'll be fine. This plays legitimately like a single player squad based game when you're solo. It does. You have the ability to swap your team members, like if you were playing a Final Fantasy game and taking control of those other party members. But the gameplay loop is it's an open world game. The game takes place in the city of Metropolis. It looks nothing like Fortnite at all. It looks like the antithesis of Gotham.
Right.
Gotham is a dark, shitty pisshole city, and this looks like the Paragon city that Superman lives in.
It looks like hold on. It looks
the
like
place where Superman would live.
It looks like a metropolis. Who would have thought, dude?
Right? Yeah, and it's crazy. And there are some things about the way that they chose to approach the game world that I'm not super happy with. It does feel a little soupy. It does fall into that, like, there's not enough going on in the world for it to feel alive. Sometimes it falls into that rut on occasion. But there's plenty to do while you're out in the world. But this is a combat focused looter shooter, folks, right? With a very good comic book story narrative wrapped around it. So let's get into the gameplay. You take control of one of the 4 members of the Suicide Squad, and you are trying to kill the Justice League. You are literally doing exactly what the title says. And all around while you're doing this, you are exploring Metropolis and fighting all sorts of Brainiac's minions. Like you're fighting tanks, you're destroying alien howitzers on rooftops. You're taking on side missions from your Task Force X support villains that have also been conscripted by Amanda Waller. From anyone to Poison Ivy to Gizmo to the Toy Maker. Like you've got all these support characters and the Penguin that kind of serve as your base of operations. The gameplay loop actually reminds me of a very interesting mix of Division 2 and Anthem.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
Yeah. And for better or worse in both of those comparisons.
Sure.
So when you're out in the open world of Anthem in Division 2, you know how like you would just kind of happen on things like that just happened very organically in the world, but they weren't
Yeah.
necessarily events that triggered, they were just static things that you would just interact with, or
Yeah.
like you'd be walking from point A to point B in Division and there would be like an enemy patrol and you would just fight that enemy patrol and then move on. That's most of your combat encounters that happen outside of missions in this game.
Okay. That's interesting.
Right? Yeah, so that's kind of like the long and short of it. Like you're getting bonus rewards and experiences for stopping you off the beaten path and making sure you're destroying that howitzer on the roof or that tank on the rooftop, or if you're seeing like a hibernation chamber that's like for Brainiac's minions, you're going through and you're destroying that. Like that's providing you with like resource materials to go back and craft, and and like you also like static loot, like actual loot drops, and you have and that kind of brings us to like our loot pool. So you have like a primary weapon, secondary weapon, melee, grenade, shield mod, and a traversal. There's two other things I haven't unlocked yet, despite the fact that I'm 10 hours in. I'm a little shocked. So I don't know what those quite are. But like that bakes up your basic loadout. Thank God this game launches with 12 loadouts. Every live service looter shooter should launch with loadouts. Thank you, Rocksteady, for launching your game with loadouts. So there are no recosts to like you are literally able to go through and like adjust your loadout on the fly. As long as you're not actively in combat, you can finish an encounter, swap out your weapons, go to your talent tree, just edit them. You don't even have to refund the point and respend it. You literally just hit the edit button and move it.
Oh, okay.
And then you're like, all right, I didn't really like that skill. I'm just gonna try this one now. Bing, bang, boom. Let's just see how it does. Say you get it. It's like say you've been running like an SMG build, right, and like but that SMG is kind of out of date for you, or you don't really like it, or you happen to just get a new weapon you really want to try, but it's a sniper rifle and you're not set up for sniper rifles. You equip that sniper rifle, you just go to your talents. I'm maining Captain Boomerang. He has like a ranger sort of play style, sniper sort of play style you can lean into.
Okay.
So like I just adjusted my talents to kind of match that play style. And then so it made it really fun and engaging to just swap your loadout on the fly to be able to like take on different things, because different enemies do kind of have like they have different patterns and stuff. Like the snipers, you can't melee them. Like if you approach a sniper from melee range, like that bitch is gonna phase out and teleport away from you and just continue to snipe you.
Okay.
The game also has like an active shield system. So and it's based in lore even. So like in most games like Destiny, when your shield drops, right, you have like a delay period, and then that shield will then start to recharge.
Yes, right.
Not in Suicide Squad. If your shield is depleted, you have to actively replenish it by stealing it from the enemy. And it's because
okay.
Amanda Waller says, fuck you. You got to work for your shit. Hiding behind cover means you're wasting my time. So if you're not actively fucking up the enemy and stealing your shield, that's it. You're dead. So like she literally says, if you're in the fight or you're not, or you're toast. Like none of this cover shooter shit around here.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. And so like they at least give you a lore reason as to why your shield doesn't regenerate. It's because Amanda Waller's an asshole and she doesn't really care if you're having a bad time. And so you're actively like, and the way you like stagger the enemies is like they have different like weak points. If you like you've got like your typical head, like I'm sure you've seen like some of the gameplay clips, like the enemies will have like a purple like Brainiac pimple blister like weak point that you can target.
Yeah.
And then like your typical grunts and stuff, like to be able to access their shield and steal it from them, you actually shoot their legs. And so like, and then we'll stagger them, and then you go in and you melee them and you steal that shield, and it will replenish a portion of your shield. And all the while you're doing this in a very, very, very chaotic combat setting. Like, holy shit, you are constantly moving, constantly doing. Each character has like their own traversal mechanic, and their traversal mechanic is used in combat. Like this is not just something you're going to use to get from point A to point B. It is like an active part of your character's skill set and arsenal in the combat setting, and it makes each character feel so fucking unique. So King Shark, he's basically the only the real meta human, and he has like he can super leap, he can kind of like swim and dash through the air, and so he's like a brawler, heavy tank suppressor sort of play style, right?
Okay.
And so like the way he leaps and the way his traversal interacts, you're just constantly hopping into the fray, and like beating the fuck out of those enemies, hopping out, and then hopping to the next group and beating up that group of enemies. Harley Quinn's got a grappling hook and a Batman drone that follows her around, and she'll grappling
Oh,
hook to that Batman drone. That's how they made it. I was wondering
that's
how they
really
made that
cool.
make sense.
Yeah,
Because I was
that's
just like the
really, really
grappling. I was like,
cool.
is she grappling to nothing? No, she's grappling to the Batman drone that follows her around.
That's
But
fucking
she can
rad.
also do some other cool stuff that I felt made her really unique to play. You can, rather than just using that grappling hook to swing, you can suspend yourself from it and shoot from the grappling hook, and like while you're actively shooting like on the grappling hook, and so like you'll attach to the grappling hook, you'll suspend yourself, and you're just like hovering over the battlefield, pew pewing away, drop like raining down grenades, and then dropping down with your Harley Quinn hammer and just wrecking shop. Captain Boomerang has access to a version of the Speed Force via like a manipulator gauntlet, essentially, and like you
Okay.
throw your gauntlet, and you like literally Speed Force your ass to it. And like it functions as like a short range teleporter, and you can have like a super speed dash that lasts like X amount of seconds after you've like dashed. And like the way his stuff is, like, because the boomerang curves, so like it's really easy to throw your boomerang and get behind an enemy shield on a rooftop and just like start wrecking everybody's shop, and then you throw your boomerang back through the shield and get back on the other side and start supporting your like your allies from another rooftop with your sniper rifle, or getting up close with your shotgun and just hit and run play style. And then you've got Deadshot, who has a jetpack, who can literally just hover above the battlefield and like and manipulate and like have a 360 like sniper scope range. And they all have like their different weapons that they have access to. Like you've got your typical arsenal of like SMGs, assault rifles, miniguns, pistols, and snipers. Like that's kind of like that makes up like, and then they each have their own unique melee weapon that's based off of like their characters, their hero identity, if you will. And they all feel really really great to play. I'm really quite surprised with how fluid it makes the combat feel. It's ridiculously engaging. The combat feels so fun to engage in that the combat itself breaks up the monotony of the activities in the game, kind of feeling samey.
Okay.
Because the activities in the open world will, at the end of the day, when you're doing your support stuff, it like a lot of it will be like kill X enemy, gather material from enemy, drop it off at a resource point, and move on. Like it very much has like that very like public event, like Destiny sort of like open world activity approach
Okay.
to like its open world stuff. And then like as far as like the side quests and stuff, they all kind of have a very similar format that you'll start to recognize after you've done a good handful of them. Like, oh yeah, each toy maker mission looks like this, each hack mission looks like this, and so on and so forth. And you can there's like a predictability of to like what kind of mission and modifiers that like those missions are going to have. But they're not uninteresting either. Like when you're doing missions for Gizmo, like you can only damage enemies while you're using vehicles, or if you're doing something with hack, you have to be able to be using like you have to be able to break enemies shields down. If you're doing something for Poison Ivy, you have to kill enemies with with using like your elemental afflictions, etc., etc. So there's like augments and modifiers that get applied to the missions to kind of keep you on your toes, and and keep you engaged in what's going on a mission to mission basis.
Okay.
That kind of that's really kind of encompasses like the core gameplay of the game. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a couple off the cuff, but I want DJ to run first, so go for it.
We saw a little bit of the previews of this game, unceremoniously, uh, through that IGN review,
Very much
ever,
so.
right? Um, we were making fun of the UI. Was the UI an issue for you,
The
Garrick?
UI.
Or
I'm
did
glad
you
that you
turn it
mentioned
off?
that. So the UI that I saw in the game previews, in the gameplay previews, and what I've personally experienced, I think they made some back end adjustments because it doesn't feel like screen vomit to me when I've been playing
Yeah.
personally. The screen does get awfully busy, but I've never felt that there's been so much occurring on the screen at once that it's been too much. Uh, I have gone through and I've turned off a couple of like minor things that I just didn't feel like I saw a benefit to them. Like the cooldown on my traversal ability. I'm good. I'm good on that. Like
Yeah,
I
don't need that shit.
understand.
That's fine. We'll figure it
I
out.
don't need
Yeah.
that. Like because like I understand that like my shit refreshes when my feet touch the ground. Like so it's fine. I as a gamer I don't need like a little bar, like, right? So like there's some things that I've chosen to turn off just like from a clutter perspective.
Sure.
But like all of the information they're providing you as the character doesn't feel unnecessary. It can just be in the midst of the already really chaotic combat model that this game's kind of taking approach to, that it can be really visually overstimulating still.
Uh, and I had a follow up, or not follow up, but I had a second question.
Okay.
Go for it.
What, um, so I know you've been like really playing this game pretty hard for the past day, right? Or for the past day, yeah. Um, h- how how good does the game feel to just like what type of play style are you gonna go for? Like in terms of like just is this like something you just drop it like you can just drop in and play right away, or do you need to like set yourself up for playing this game for a couple hours, or can you just like oh I can just pause here, do what I need to do, come back later, or like how do you feel playing this game? Can you do those things?
Oh, that's a fair question.
That's a great question. And I felt like this game has been incredibly respectful of my time.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a fair answer.
And what I say by that is like each time I have like hopped into a session, I have felt like I have made progress in the game. I have been rewarded with a new piece of loot, or if I've not been rewarded with a new piece of loot, I've been rewarded with something new for me to access the Hall of Justice that I've gotten through like a mission. There is like you can the game is designed in such a way that like you could literally hop onto the game just to edit one of your heroes without having to ever actually log into a session and access the map.
Mhm.
Like you don't even like you can literally just go to the main menu and just fuck with your roster right there and then start the session and like and prepare yourself for play that way, or you can literally just get right into the action, dive straight into the game, and just start wandering Metropolis at your own leisure. The game does something really cool that I like from like a co-op standpoint. um so it has it's like, so they call it the social squad, but it's got like a team leader mechanic when you're in co-op. But
Okay.
you know how like traditionally speaking, when you join like these looter shooter type games or these large party squad session types games, it's just the party host who's in charge of the session.
Yeah. Right.
Right. This game doesn't do that. It actually like actively like passes the party lead around on a mission to mission basis.
Oh, that's weird. How do they keep
How does
track
that
of
work?
everything?
It's based off of how you performed in the mission. So whoever got like the most kills and did like the best in that mission becomes the squad leader, and then you get to choose the next activity for your group.
Oh.
So that everybody gets like some semblance of player freedom and player control. You don't like
Okay.
what that player is going to choose? Drop out of the session. No harm, no foul. You'll literally just go back to a single player session right where you were at. It's super easy. Drop in, drop out. Player progression is like if you're on the same mission, it's going to like you'll progress together, but like you could also you can also shepherd or like just help out people that are ahead of you and still maintain your own progress without fear of skipping
Okay,
like
okay.
story stuff.
Which is a big
Um,
problem in Destiny. Yeah.
yeah, like so you like yeah, like if you do like a mission that's like further in the campaign than where you are, your campaign will still be intact. But if you guys started at the same time, your progress will also continue, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it like
So
Redfall? Like when we played Redfall, is it similar?
um no, because Redfall operated in a way where like where like you only the host progression stayed and you had to
Oh yeah,
completely
yeah,
redo like that stuff. Like this like so if you like so like as an example, if we started like day 1 mission 1, my progress and your progress DJ would just carry on.
yeah.
But
Just
if like
carry.
I hopped out of the session and like we had just beat the first boss, but you kept playing, and I joined
Yeah.
you a few hours later and you're on the second boss, I can still beat the second boss on my own game because you have passed me.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Pretty
That
cool.
makes sense.
Hmm.
So Garrick, my question for you, and I want to make this quick because we got to wrap things up here, but obviously when we talk about live service games, there is the pretty ongoing just understanding that a live service game, really the big bulk of the content, the juicy stuff, if you will, is the end game content. The
Right.
campaign sort of like acts as a vehicle for you to get to the max level or the cap, in order for you to then be able to play the end game content in a way that will not make you suffer each time that you try to jump into an activity. Do you feel that the campaign in this serves simply just as a vehicle, or do you feel that it does actually feel just like a single player game that just so happens to have a big bolstered end game? Even though I know you're not there.
With my experience with the story so far, uh, it actually feels like it genuinely like this was written as a single player story experience that just has a bolstered end game. Like there are like the narrative of the game, the campaign missions do not feel like it is offering the player tutorial shit. That
Mm,
is what your side missions are for. That's what's going to give you like your extra unlocks, unlocking your blueprints for your crafting, your new legendary stuff, and like at Penguin's workshop, or like doing a side mission from Poison Ivy to unlock a new elemental affinity for your weapons. Like that's where all that stuff is going to take place. That's where like your looter shooter side content comes from. But
okay.
like if you were to just access this game and basically ignore the live service respect, ignore like the side content and just play it as like I want to play this as a story game, you're still probably going to clock like 15 or 16 hours out of this.
Okay.
Like this is
Okay.
not like your Destiny, like you spent 4 hours in the campaign and now you're just grinding light level. And like I'm really curious as to what the end. I know what the end game looks like. I know it takes place in like the form of incursions. After your first major boss fight, it literally openly shows you the multiverse in this game. Like it
Oh.
literally like it just it, and you're just like, oh fucking K, like y'all just leaning right on into it, and like it really makes a big deal like out of like the way they're like no, like this is part of the story and like this is going to affect like the game's post content forever. And like the way, because the else worlds that's like the alternate dimension worlds that they're
Yeah.
calling them, like y'all forget that this is a superhero game, right? Like people can come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like
Heroes
especially
don't
when
die.
they've already acknowledged that like this is a multiversal setting, right, and that they're tapping into like versions of characters that like we do know and love and others we're not familiar with, right? Like that's really exciting to me as like from like an end game content. And like they've already got like raids and stuff that they're planning. They have like incursions, which are like dungeons set up. Like they have an end game loop planned, unlike some other like live service games of the last decade that didn't really have that setup in place at launch. Like they're primed and ready to go. Like they've already announced like their first DLC character, which will be free to all players, in March.
Wait, hold on. Whoa. They're doing a DLC character?
Oh
Yeah, they announced
man.
What?
They have announced their first additional character roster in the form of the Joker. But it is not Arkham versus Joker. It is an Elseworld Joker because because this is Rocksteady's Arkhamverse and Mark Hamill's Joker is dead. Like they've already acknowledged that he's dead.
Yeah,
right. So this is not that Joker. It's voiced by a different voice actor. He's got a different personality, different take with different relationship with these characters. And they've already we've already got Katana lined up, Killer Croc. Like they have they're going to be adding to the roster down the road. Like they have people set up to join the Suicide Squad. They've already they want this to be a successful live service game. And Rocksteady, I'm hoping it's successful enough that Rocksteady gets to bring to light their plan that they have for this game, because I think after going live with this is one of the most well-polished, optimized looter shooters I've played in a long time. The gameplay is so no frame drops. Literally, there's not even any performance settings on the PlayStation 5. You just boot the bitch up and it plays.
Okay.
60 FPS as is. Looks great, crisp, ridiculously far view distance. You can all the things. It literally this feels like a next gen game. It's so well optimized. I've like I said, I've only had two interruptions in my gameplay experience where I got trapped on a loading screen after playing for 4 hours and I had to relaunch the game, right? But I had played for 4 hours at that point. Maybe it was time for me to take a break anyways, right? And so most people that's not most people don't session for 4 hours at a time. That's on average. So I don't know. I have this game is starting off the way that Avengers should have started.
I like the way that sounds, because Avengers, I really liked the gameplay of the actual combat and what you're doing, but the campaign honestly was fucking phenomenal. I really love the campaign of the Avengers game, but it was that end game stuff, man. That end game shit was what got me, and that's why I asked my question that I did. But you make me feel better about it. But before we leave this conversation, Gary, I have one important question to ask you. Do they call him Nanawe? Do they call him Nanawe? Or do they call him King
They
Shark?
haven't called him. They have not called him Nanawe yet.
Damn it.
I don't know.
Damn it.
I don't know why. I don't know if they most of the time they just refer to him as Shark, literally just Shark.
Sure. Okay. I'll allow it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Oh, dude, some of the customization options are really cool in the suits, by the way. I just had to touch on that really quick. You can kind of make your squad member feel kind of like your squad member. There's color swatches, and you can kind of adjust everything, and it feels really good. Dude, you can get King Shark with a fucking pierced fin. It's sick.
That's rad. That's super rad.
It's rad. Anyways, but no, it's they have not called him Nanawe yet, and I'm curious to see if they will call him Nanawe. But they have acknowledged outright that he is a demigod on more than one occasion so far.
Okay, sick. That's that. At least that I'll take.
Literally, they introduce him. He's just I'm the son of a god.
Do they kind of make him relatively similar to King Shark and the Suicide Squad? Is he kind of low IQ, Neanderthal behavior? Is he
No.
Oh, okay.
Motherfucker likes to read. He's a lot more think Drax, but smart. And that's kind of what King Shark is like in this game.
Not hard to do, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And right. And so but he's very literal, very super intelligent. All the characters feel really good. Deadshot is just so fucking out to save his own skin. And like honestly, half of the questionable decisions that they make is fucking Captain Boomerang just running his ass off. Dude, he literally like you know the controversy around like their approach to like how they treated Poison Ivy.
Right.
That was literally Captain Boomerang just doing whatever he wasn't even consulting the team. He just did some fuck all shit on his own and was just like, oops.
Sounds about right.
It's so on brand for the character.
Sounds
Dude, like
very
it's
on
literally
brand.
it's like literally he was just like, yeah, sorry I jumped the gun on the bomb thing. You're just like, hello.
You fucking asshole, right? Jesus Christ, man. Well, thank you, Garrick. We appreciate it. I'm excited to play this with you on Friday, dog, for Splash Damage.
I think we're gonna have a great time, or no? I think it's gonna be awesome.
I'm fucking excited, brother. I really, really am. PS5, yeah?
Yeah.
All right,
Full
dog.
crossplay too.
All right, dog. Well, hey, let's make fucking happen. In the meantime, we got something else that we got to make happen for you guys, and that is our headlining segment. Garrick, what are we getting into next, my man?
Woo! We're talking some heavy shit
Mm.
this evening in the tech and gaming industry, but it's gonna be some intense stuff. So you better protect your neck because we're headed to the gallows.
Gentlemen, when we talk heavy, Anxious in chat. Hello, Anxious. Hello. We hope you've been good. Haven't seen a while. Welcome back. So tonight for the gallows, we have a very important conversation that needs to be had here. Of recent, we found out and heard some news that Microsoft, amongst many, many others, but Microsoft specifically, is going through another round of layoffs. And this time is just going through the fucking business because 1 month into 2024, the games industry has already experienced about 5,000 layoffs, and Microsoft has decided, after they're acquiring Blizzard Entertainment, that it was time for them to go through another round of layoffs at the head count of approximately 1,900, all exclusively from their games department. So we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit about our feelings towards this, what we think is the reason for this, and what we feel this means for the games industry as a whole. Microsoft being arguably the biggest fucking company in games, deciding to lay off such a massive amount of people, right after having had one of the biggest acquisitions in video game history, arguably the biggest acquisition in video game history, and then deciding to lay off so many workers that they just purchased, I'm sure leaves a very sour taste in all of our mouths, especially regarding our excitement for the acquisition and like what that was supposed to mean in the games industry. And now we have to be sitting here having this talk about, well, what does this fucking mean that they acquired these fucking development studios, and now they're just deciding to fucking let half of the fucking workers of those studios go? It's just fucking insane to me. So DJ, I want to send it full force to you going off. DJ, why do you think this happened, and where do you think this is leading?
Man, dude, this is huge news, and I hate that it happened like after so many of the other company layoffs and stuff like that in the game industry that we are kind of desensitized to this information. But I can't stress enough how much like 5,000 people being laid off is.
It's a fucking lot, man. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, dude.
And well, you said like 1900 was part of the gaming.
Was not
part of
1900 is exclusively what Microsoft is doing. So almost more than
The
a
tech
quarter.
industry as a whole is at 25,000 layoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost a
That
quarter of the video games industry layoffs have been from
yeah.
this one that Microsoft's about to do.
Yeah, and it's most of it's is Blizzard, right? Or all of it is it all of it Blizzard
A
or most?
large chunk of it is Blizzard. Another chunk of it was like some smaller dev teams and like marketing
And also
teams
their
and like
physical games division, like physical
their
copies of
physical
games
games
division.
division.
Yeah, because we were talking about me and Garrett were talking about that when the news broke regarding the physical game stuff, like how we're moving to digital. Like we've been moving to digital, but I think that sets the nail in the coffin. Like, damn, like we will
Yeah, if
never we
Microsoft
might
is
not ever
preparing
get
for that
discs again.
shift, then the rest of the tech industry will shortly follow. Like it's an
Yeah.
inevitability.
Um.
And yeah,
Yeah, dude. Blizzard is has been in kind of this rough area for the past year. Um, Overwatch 2, this thing with Diablo 4, even though Diablo 4 sold well, just handling the game after post launch was left a lot of people sour, you know.
Mm.
And Overwatch 2 has been like I swear every time Overwatch 2 pops up on my TikTok for you page, it's about someone in like notable in the Overwatch 2 community that's complaining about changes that they're making every time. And it's not like I'm looking for these, like I'm not searching for, oh, like do people have a problem with Overwatch? These like this is like the most viral stuff that hits my for you page and hits my feeds. Like these changes. And at this point, like uh I commend people for sticking with Overwatch 2, but I can't imagine playing Overwatch 2 or Overwatch in general today at all.
Yeah, right, right.
And so I guess that's why most of these layoffs are at Blizzard, for the things that I mentioned. Um, I mean, it's hard because no one should really lose their job for that, you know, because we talk about like executive decisions, and these people are just working towards that goal, and if that goal fails, it's kind of on their ass. Um, it sucks. And I think I speak for all of us that we hate seeing this.
Yeah, it's a bummer,
It
man.
kind of makes us sick, seeing news break almost every 2 days. Another company's laying off
Yeah, just
someone
about, dude.
a large amount in the game industry, and for Microsoft to do it at such a high volume, I'm curious as to what they're trying to do moving forward with Blizzard, because most of it's Blizzard, right? I wonder if this might be the kind of beginning of the end for Blizzard
Mm,
Entertainment.
mm.
You know, this is like the catalyst for the fall of Blizzard.
the
I mean,
beginning of the end for Blizzard Entertainment started about a decade ago.
yeah, but I think
This is a
I
nail in
think
the
we're. I
coffin.
mean,
Yeah.
Blizzard Entertainment, like they bounce back, like they pop back and forth. You know what I mean? Like in relevancy and also just being in good faith with the consumer. For in the past decade, you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
bounce
Right.
back and forth. Um, but it was never. I don't think it was ever this bad, or at least it's never been this like well covered for them. Like they've never been so like hard in the spotlight for so long. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
well, I mean, I can't say I wasn't really like on the internet. When Blizzard was at its heyday. You know what I'm saying? Like I just know Overwatch went pretty big for them, and then you know I know they have World of Warcraft and Diablo, right? Um, and they had that thing with Call of Duty and Destiny for a little bit, um, with Activision. Um, yeah, I just think everyone's just like tired of Blizzard, and they're in a weird state, like being like getting in with Activision, and then like falling out with that, and now with Microsoft. It's like they've been such in a weird state of like conflict for the past like few years. that it's hard to picture them trying to do anything else with this company. You know, like what do you do from here? What do you make? Like, what IPs do they have planned? You know, all I see is just making Overwatch 2 great again and trying to keep Diablo 4 afloat. Because those have been the last like two big releases they've been talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, and
Um,
when like, and even they like, even that like, it hasn't been working out for them. With like, which makes you wonder, like, you guys are laying off all these people, like, who are going to be working on like these trouble games?
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. Um, it's it's tough too because like I've been kind of keeping my ear close to this, and Garrett can attest to this. I've been ranting about this for the better part of about a year. But the tech industry is so. Firstly, I've been ranting about this very um, impending crash, economic crash that's supposed to be happening. And they've been pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, do whatever they can in the United States, and they've done pretty well with trying to keep it from popping. Because for anyone that doesn't know, just very brief economic lesson for anyone that doesn't understand this shit. There's some real fucked up shit that happened with the economy coming out of the pandemic that very few people were ready for. In the case of the tech industry specifically, I don't know if you guys heard about that bank that got shut down in Silicon Valley. Most
yeah.
of this is happening because of that, and how a lot of these
Glad you brought
companies
that
and
up.
businesses like never actually really bounce back from that. So like the what very long story short terms here, like the bank, people were working from home. The pandemic happened. Businesses were working from home. Businesses were coming up with ideas, all this other shit. People were getting their COVID checks, just slinging those bitches out. A lot of businesses were trying to get loans to start up their businesses. In the course of the pandemic, when we started realizing, wow, working from home is actually a reasonable thing that you can fucking do these days, businesses were asking for loans left and fucking right. When the pandemic lifted and the bank is like, hey, we need some of this money back, or now these other businesses are needing their money back, the numbers weren't adding up correctly. And again, that is just the most layman's terms way that I can explain this without kind of like going into a full on fucking rant. But the numbers didn't add up right. And effectively, this bank in Silicon Valley that pretty much funds all the tech businesses that we know about in the United States suddenly doesn't have enough money to pay people back. And so they have to shut down. The Federal Reserve doesn't have enough money to fucking save them. So they say, well, sorry, like the most that we can do is work this out with tariffs. Again, not going to dive into that. There is a massive economic fucking disaster that's happening in the tech industry. And it's kind of shoveling and pushing tech and games industry companies to have to make very, very brash decisions that we're obviously saying, as we quoted earlier, every couple of fucking days. And now we're in a position where we have to watch friends and family members and people that we see on the internet and people that we have gotten to know online, watch them potentially lose their fucking jobs because like these companies are in a very precarious position. And instead of, I don't know, Bobby Kotick before retiring, giving up one of his fucking yachts, we instead are going to lose 1,900 employees that work for Blizzard. And that's the kind of fucking world that we live in, unfortunately, where these fucking rich ass pieces of shit refuse to just not be as rich. You know what I mean? Like that's all we're asking for. That's all we're asking here for. You know what I'm saying? Like just maybe pay your
Maybe just
employees
pay your
better.
workers.
Like maybe pay your fucking workers a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like we like this isn't this like there's so many people that try to argue this shit. It's like, well, economically they pay the workers more, then there's gonna be an inflation within a company and all this other bullshit. And we've seen this. There's like a guy in fucking Seattle who owns a like ad company who purposely keeps his wage at like pretty much exactly $100,000 a year, refuses to make any more than that. As his company grows, as his income grows, he gives his income to his employees, and he's happy, and he's just fucking fine, and he still makes great money, enjoys what he's fucking doing. His employees are happy. His turnover rate's like 2%. It's insane what happens when the rich don't decide to just keep getting fucking richer. So yeah, we have a volatile tech economy. We have a bunch of stingy fucking rich people. We have workers that are not getting paid well enough, especially for the amount of fucking crunch they have to do. And we hear about that shit every 5 days rather than 2 days. It's just in fucking sane to think that I'm sure at some point or another, every single one of us loved the idea of being a game developer of some kind. Right? Yeah. Every single one of us like, God damn, it would be dope as shit to work in the games industry, right? And now we're seeing this, and we have to watch our friends and folks that do work in the game industry be like, nah, dude, you don't want this. You don't want this, dude. And we're just kind of like, yo, you're right, fool. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, because this is fucking crazy. And what this means as far as like Microsoft moving forward, what this means for the games industry moving forward, I can't tell you. It's hard to really fucking say because we don't know where the end of this could potentially be after another year, 2 years. I mean, like, we have a whole fucking presidential campaign that's going on right now. Like, things are fucking wild in this country currently. Who the fuck knows where it's going to go? Which is why I tossed the ball to you, Garrick, my good sir. Obviously, we talked about why this is currently happening. I want to ask you, good sir, where do you see this turning out? Let's just say, for example, this turns out for the better in a year, and now we're like, all right, let's start hiring games people. That track, where do you see that going? And then where do you see on the opposite side, if that does not happen, where are things going to go from there? What is the best and worst case scenarios here?
The best case scenario is this stops tomorrow, but it won't. That's the best case. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But it won't. What's crazy about this is like this did not start in the game industry. This like we said, this is a tech industry problem.
Mm-hmm.
And layoffs are contagious. Like you can literally think of this shit as an illness, and like it's going to continue for as long as it is socially acceptable for these developers to do this. And what I say by socially acceptable, I mean like these motherfuckers are legit being rewarded. The companies are being rewarded for laying off their employees. And you're just like, and you might think to yourself, what do you mean by that? And that doesn't really make sense. Like their workforce is getting smaller.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that these fucking companies are getting legit stock incentives to lay off their fucking people. That's what I'm saying. Like Wall Street is literally saying, hey, like if we can bring everything in the tech industry down across the board, everybody gets an additional 5%. How do you guys like that? And all of these companies go, 5% looks real good on the books for us. Let's make it happen. What do we have to do? And then we start to see this cascading effect of layoffs. And what happens with these cascading effects of layoffs is they literally cause more. So we like do not be disillusioned by the fact that like this took place at the beginning of the year. It took place at the beginning of the year because this is when Microsoft wanted it to happen. This was a planned layoff, folks. These are not spontaneous. This is not something that's just coming out of the it's spontaneous for the employees that it is suddenly impacting, but the individuals that are coming up with these business plans, this business acumens, like these plans forward, have been planning this for some time now because these layoffs started at the end of 2022 when COVID funds started to run out. But like right now, like if like let's reel it in, right? Let's scope it in just a little bit, right?
Yep, reeling it in, baby.
If we were to look at this, throwing out the other 20,000 individuals and the rest of the tech industry that have been affected, and we just look at this from the thing that we know and love, the games.
Yes,
we should be worried. We should be very worried. Like, why is it acceptable for multi-billion-dollar companies like Microsoft and Embracer Group to buy these development studios for millions and millions of dollars, and then in months' time release half of that studio's staff to the free public to be a free agent, or lose their contract because that's because you want to know what that tells you want to know what that tells me that these purchases are happening for.
What's that,
IPs. They're buying these development studios solely for the intellectual properties that they own, not the talent developing them. And that is a problem because that means that the quality of our games in the next few years are going to dip. Like, everybody should expect, like, all of your game, especially you live service folks. You should be the most stressed out.
You Call of Duty Warzone folks?
Warzone, you Warzone players, you Fortnite players, right? Like, Epic Games wasn't immune. They had like almost like March last year, they laid off almost 800.
I think they had 2 rounds last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did more. They had 2 rounds of layoffs, right? Like so, and like there's so much of like, and yes, like a lot of it is not being affected on the development end, but like they're not without, like, it's not without its trim. Like, it's not being, it's not subject to the culling. It's just what's happening is like so many of these companies are just ripping the Band-Aid off because they're like, oh yeah, well everybody's laying it off. Everybody's going through the layoff. So like we have to do it right now while everybody else is doing it so that our shit gets buried in the sauce and that we can't be held socially responsible for laying off our employees. Because I guarantee you in the next several weeks, there will be so many other smaller developers
that
proceed to lay off, and it's not going to be covered because of the implications of Microsoft layoff is still going to overshadow those smaller developments, like companies, like losing their staff. And when those smaller companies lose individuals, I almost guarantee you a development team was impacted.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, you guys ready for this? I have an update from Zach Zwiesen over at Kotaku. 29 days into 2024 and 6,000 plus video game layoffs have been announced. We have a comprehensive list of all the studios that have done in the games industry that have done layoffs this year. Archiact, number unknown. Bossa Studios, 19 people. Unity, 1,800 people. Twitch, 500 people. Playtika, 300 to 400 people. Discord, 170 people. Lost Boys Interactive, 125 people. PTW, formerly Pull to Win, 45 people. Thunderful, 20% of their staff, around 100 people.
That's insane.
Pixelberry Studios,
insane.
Unknown, NetSpeak Games, 25 people. Wemo Games, 35 people. Behavior Interactive, 45 people. CI Games, 10% of their staff. 31st Union, less than 10, thankfully. Let's see. Metaverse World, 70 people. NetReefsoft, 70 people. Riot Games, 530 people. Let's see.
Mostly creatives too.
People Can Fly, 30 plus people. Black Forest Games, around 50. Microsoft, 1,900, as we talked about. Rycon, 60 people. Little Red Dog, 27. Eidos Montreal, 97. And then finally, Chief Rebel, around 21 people. That is so many in the past month that are just using the laid waste bodies of these layoffs, these people that are losing their jobs as a scapegoat for them to continue fucking doing it, dude. And
it will continue to happen.
Jag makes a very important comment too in the chat here. That's like one of my old jobs. Managers of individual locations would get bonus incentive if they kept all lower employees under 40 hours per week, so they wouldn't have to pay overtime. Yeah, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper for these companies to give you bonus incentive for as a manager to keep everyone else underpaid than it would be to pay them fairly and you not get a bonus incentive. Because the $100 you get extra in your paycheck is much better than the $800 they would pay you if they were paying you fairly for your fucking work. And it's a bummer because like this is just insane. Dude, and you're right. Like we as gamers should be worried. I had a conversation with someone on Facebook. I think it was last night, where a homeboy of mine, kid named Brandon, Illisense, Portland band, check them out. They're really, really good. He put out a post, and he said, like what's been up with like games lately. Like the price of games have gone up. Like where was I when games went from $60 to $70? I thought that was just agreed upon. And I went to the comments. I was like, yeah, dude, I mean, like, it's totally fair for you to have your grievances towards the price of games going up. I was like, but let me reframe your way of thinking about this, is that prices are increasing because the demand for how much time and energy it takes to make these games
more expensive to develop
is more. It's more. I mean, you don't get God of Wars for fucking cheap. You don't get Spider-Man 2s for fucking cheap. You know what I mean? Like if that was the case, then we'd have them all over the goddamn place. But these games cost a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy in order for us to get them and to be able to play them. So yeah, they're going to naturally increase in price, and we should feel good about that because we're paying for these developers to create the games that we know and love and want to continue to support via the franchise or the IP that we enjoy as fans of these different video games. And someone went into my replies of this little comment that I made in this thread and said, you know, I think fuck them. We should just steal games anyways. And I was like,
no,
that's an interesting take. And although I appreciate the candor of one trying to say down with big business, you know, like, sure, fine, edgy rebel kid, do your fucking thing, my good sir. I say to you, be your little edgy self all you want. I think you're a dickhead. And for those of you at home that might agree, I'm sorry to say, to break this news to you. There's more people involved than just the rich dickheads that are running these companies. And when you're voting with your wallet, that money gets taken from your wallet and it gets put into the pockets of many a people, many a people that create that game that you're spending your time, your love, your energy into experiencing and playing. And it spreads it amongst all of them. And depending on how many of us decide to vote for that game, how many of us decide to just take a little bit and put it in their wallets, right? is what dictates.
Can I pause you really quick?
Uh-huh.
I want to interject something.
Yes, sir.
That like
yeah. Go ahead.
that
Go ahead.
goes along with your argument, along with the whole voting with your wallet thing.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Like,
yes.
if you are one of the people that come to me or come to any of us and you say, but the devs already got their money, that's not how this works. You are voting for your wallet is not, we're not talking about directly giving developers your fucking cash, you ding dongs. We're talking about buying a product because guess what? They're looking at sales numbers, and those sales numbers directly correlate to whether or not that developer holds their job.
Yep.
That's what voting with your wallet really means. We're not talking about giving your $70 directly to a dev. We're talking about giving them a continued career livelihood. That's what voting with your wallet
the games
means.
that you like.
They continue making it because this stuff.
So please don't ever say the devs already got their money to me ever fucking again. You're stupid.
Well, because it's true, but it's such a weak argument because it's also not the way that it's fundamentally working.
Because it's not what we're talking about.
It's not what we're talking about. Exactly.
And you know it.
And another little fucking lesson for you folks at home that don't understand how this shit fucking works. Video game development works in cycles. Yes, they get paid while they're making the fucking game. We all fucking know that. That's a goddamn given. Half of these fucking people are like, they're on a contract and they're contracted to play that game. And how that game does and performs sales wise is what dictates whether or not their contract fucking continues. For the other half of the people,
you don't buy that game, their contract doesn't get renewed. They don't make games anymore. It's as simple as that.
And for the other half of the people that are actually full-on employees of that company, you really, really think that they're not going to do this shit to them when the numbers don't add up the way they do? Because 5 years ago, we saw a whole bolsterous amount of fucking layoffs that were fucking happening. And games were selling like fucking hotcakes. You know why it was happening? Because people weren't buying the games the way that they were needing to buy the fucking games. You can't.
No, piracy was at an all-time high. And so
most AAA games are made at a loss anyway because of the $60 price tag. We should have been paying more for games a long time ago.
Fucking percent.
If you want your game, if you wanted the game industry to be making like money hand over fist and be like, if you want every game to be God of War Ragnarok and God of War 2018 quality, you need to be paid $80-$90 a title. A title.
We've been playing, like Shane said, we've been playing $60 since the 90s.
Developers. And so many of these developers are literally like, how many of these people literally work their contract for a single game and then are literally let go from their studio because they were contracted for one game?
And some of these people move out because development cycles are years, man. They have to move towards the offices, and then now once they're laid off, they got to move back. They got to find a place to stay. It's not just losing their job. They can't just bounce back like immediately after they get laid off.
So I do want to make sure I come in correct on this too, because what Shane was pointing out in chat is a little bit important. Even though we do remember that being that way, that was not particularly true. Games were not all $60 in the 90s, the way that they were $60 for the past 5 years. For example,
no, it was like a $40 to $60 range was what was typical.
Console games on average. Console games on average were $50. Handheld games were anywhere from $20 to $40. And then
a Game Boy cartridge was like $25.
So with that said, my point is not to try to like shun what Shane is saying, because he's not necessarily wrong, but this kind of goes to the point that we're trying to make here, is that like those prices were all widespread, considering what kind of game it was that you were playing, on what platform, who it was developed by. There were a lot of things that were involved in that, where now we've been so used to like a multitude of the games that we play being $60, and that was just sort of the price of entry of any, decent video game, even ones that are only fucking like 8 hours of fucking gameplay. There was a lot of $60 games for. And this is an argument that we made when we first brought up the conversation about $70 games. I don't remember what episode we did where we had that conversation the first time, but it was about a year or so ago. And this was a talking point in there because we have this very, very hollow idea that video games have to be this like super duper consistent price point across the map, which we found very quickly over time, over the course of video gaming becoming bigger now than it ever has been, going along with how big PC gaming has become, how big indie gaming has become. Video games are not just $60 across the board. They're not just $70 across the board. There's really great games that are free. There's really great games that are $20 fucking dollars. You can get Firewatch for fucking $7.80. That's one of the greatest games ever fucking made. There's a lot of different fucking options if you're willing to spread your wings and really like look to see what other options there are out there to vote for your wallet with. DJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, with this $70 like price point, I know a lot of people are complaining, but like we should be glad that it's 70. I mean, it shouldn't go past 70 because we're no longer getting physical cases in discs anymore. So that's like out of the like manufacturing costs of that, mass producing cases and discs. And on top of that, we don't get to really own our games anymore.
Which is
point.
a whole other conversation we're gonna have, baby boy.
The PlayStation Network crash tomorrow. I'd lose over 300 games.
Dog, for real.
Yeah,
for
that's
real,
what I'm saying. Like, whole different bag. But I'm saying, like, we should be glad it's 70. And if you want games to be good, pay up. Pay the money for it.
Pay up, dog.
Yeah. AAA gaming is AAA gaming is the drop in the bucket as to what's available in the gaming world. Like, voting with your wallet is really important right now. Like, we should be supporting like now more than ever. Like, it would be like the time to consider like really like doing the research on the developers and the publishers that you're choosing to support. Right? Like, we're like
buy Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, like now,
absolutely.
Now is the time. Now's the time to like to be like, okay, like am I really supporting like ethical development studios, right? And like publishers that are like doing justice not just to the games that I want to play, but to the employees developing and marketing these products. Like, because the marketing teams get hit like first. Like, when it comes to this sort of stuff, like they always get called out of the tech like space so fast. And if it wasn't for like half of those games, like half of those teams, like their games wouldn't make anywhere near as much money as they did, because marketing is so important. So like, just be really, really mindful, like especially for the remainder of 2024, because every single analyst has like made no indication that like these layoffs have any they're not slowing down. They're not going to slow down, folks. Like, we're not like brace yourself, because it's going to get worse. Like if you have friends and family, or you know anybody, or you care about the gaming industry or about the space right now, like just be mindful about like the studios that you're choosing to give your money to, because right now, like a lot of the studios are definitely just looking at their stocks and their overhead, and they're trying to stay afloat amidst the rising chaos of the shifting funds that pandemic, like the loss of pandemic funds has created.
That's for sure, man. Well, boys, we will continue to support in whatever way that we possibly can. We hope that you guys can continue to do so as well, because we love video games. We love games. We love the people that work in games. We love our video game making friends. We love our video game playing games. We love everything that video games have to potentially offer, because this is shit that we've loved since we were children, and we want to continue paying that forward as much as we can. So guys, please join us in supporting the games industry in any way that you possibly can by buying more video games. just like I'm going to play Justice League or kill the Justice League or Justice the Kill League or kill La Kill
Justice the
League.
Kill League sounds like a whole different game that I want to play.
Suicide Justice Kill Squad League.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
There, exactly, my friend. Speaking of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, we are going to be talking about our schedule for the rest of this week. On Thursday, we have another episode of the Shipwreck Show. That's right, you guys have it. As per usual, our Twitch subscribers can go into our Discord and you have access to our Shipwreck Submissions channel where you can write into the Shipwreck Show. And if we feel that will make really, really great, ridiculous fucking content, we'll answer your question live on the show so that you can be a part of it as well. So please hang out with us then. It's gonna be a great time. On Friday, we have another Splash Damage gameplay stream where me and Garrick are gonna be playing Suicide Squad, the Extraordinary League of Gentlemen. That's right. We're gonna be playing that 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Join us for that. And then Saturday, we have another Good Kraken podcast where the headlining segment of that episode is still to be announced. But you do not want to miss that. Please come in, hang out with us.
Don't miss it.
Fun fact, our last Saturday episode ever.
Yeah.
Our last
ever
episode of content on a Saturday for the rest of your fucking day. So come
Things
in,
are changing. Things are
hang
shifting.
out with us
Be
for the last Saturday recording that you're going to be able to catch us for. That'll be this Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We will see you guys there. Please, everybody, please let us know what video game companies you want to support, which ones that you do not want to have layoffs for, and let us know what video game companies that you're keeping an eye out for. DJ, what's up?
Did we give scores for hands-on today?
Well, Garrick hasn't finished his yet.
I didn't deliberately just because I said the end game.
Yeah, but DJ, what's your score on Tekken?
It was a 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay, there you go. I kind of assumed that was going to be.
I know, I just want to make that clear. Like, I could have been like, yeah, I love the game. It's kind of shit though. So.
I'll take this little section and I'll put it in the back.
Yeah.
This is gonna hard.
Editing. This is post show or no.
I didn't wait and review Diablo 4's endgame loop before I reviewed it. I reviewed it from a campaign only standpoint, and I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Yep, that's totally fair, my friend. This has been the Good Kraken podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news. Very good reviews and discussions that you wanted to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 12 p.m. right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. If you enjoyed the show, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive content, and soon have early access episodes before they go live on podcasts and video services across the digital sea.
Yard.
Thank you, gentlemen. You can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button. Excuse me. Or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there.
Review.
We have to go, everybody. But until next time, my friends, buy your video games.
I'm going to give him my money.
Chickens.